In the Bible, the book of Corinthians, there is a story about a widow woman who gives her tithing to the church. Basically, this is my version of the story. It goes like this. Jesus was with some of his followers at the temple, and they were watching as people came in and put money into the collection boxes. And they saw all these wealthy individuals coming in, putting all this money into the boxes. And then along comes this elderly woman, and she was looking around and decided that no one was watching. She just put her 2 coins into the box and she went off. And Jesus said to his followers, of all the individuals, the wealthy people who have given today, that widow gave everything she had. So this is our topic for today, giving and receiving. My husband will help explain some more about this topic, so I will turn it over to him so he can begin.
I'm centering you on the screen.
Oh.
You're off to one side, so okay.
Okay.
So are you saying then that rich people, are everybody supposed to give all their money to the church?
No. It's the intent that you have behind your giving. And for that widow woman at that time, she was lovingly giving everything she had to help with whatever glorification and worship was taking place at the temple for God. Whereas from the story, my understanding is that the wealthy people, after they had paid all their bills and spent their money to buy lavish things, then they were just giving a little bit of what they had left over. So it was like, not a big deal, give a little bit to the church. So it's more so the intent behind what they were doing.
The part about, so it's not about the little bit, it's about the attitude they had.
The attitude behind it.
Yeah, because the next question I was going to have for you was, well, aren't you supposed to pay all your bills first before you do that?
You should, but like the widow woman, I believe the story goes, is that, she would go days without food. She could use that money to buy her own food, but instead it was more important to her to show that, she's contributing something toward the work that they were doing on behalf of God with the church.
Now, I want to ask you the question about, should you pay your bills first before you pay the tithing? You said you should.
I think you should.
But if I remember right, I think in the Bible it stated that, well, I don't know if it's in the Bible, but the way we were brought up in the Catholic Church,
the way you were brought up.
Exactly. I know the way we were brought up. We're Catholic.
We're both Catholic, but we're brought up really differently in the Catholic faith.
Anyway, is that it's supposed to be before you pay all your bills. It's 10% before you pay all your bills.
Oh.
Right. It's not after you pay all your bills. Right? So that's why I asked you that question, but I guess you didn't know that.
Nope, didn't know that.
So anyway, was the widower or widower?
Widow. Woman. Widow.
Was she going overboard? I mean, why would you starve yourself and then give everything you have? Then what happens to you?
Yes. Well, maybe she believed that by giving what she had to God, she would receive more in return, because she knew God would always take care of her.
Now that's the key, right? That she's not worried about if she'll have tomorrow. She knows that she'll have tomorrow.
Right, but today I have these coins, so you know what? I'm going to give them to God. While
the other people, and it's not necessarily wealthy people.
Just anyone in general, I would think.
They're like, well, I'm going to give this amount because I have to make sure that tomorrow I have something or I have to make sure I have something for tomorrow. So they don't really truly believe that God will provide for the next day.
Right.
As I read somewhere that we should be like birds. Birds don't go and they don't have a refrigerator or somewhere where they go and save up food. They just go, every day they just go and eat.
They just give,
because they know the next day they'll find food.
Right.
And I guess that's the way we should be. Anyway, we spent a lot of time on that one. So how does it apply to our giving and receiving, right? I like the idea of you saying that it's about intent. Are you giving expecting something in return? For example, in the case of the widow, as you said, she gave, but it's because she knew that the next day she'd be fine. It's not that she expected God to give her something back.
Right.
She just knew that, I'll be fine tomorrow. He'll take care of me anyway. So maybe you can say, well, she expected him to take care of her. Or is that an expectation? Or is that because God has told us, I'll take care of you, so you don't have to worry about it? I think it's because she knows that he'll take care
Right,
of
it's
it.
a knowing. It's not, hey, I'm doing this so I can get this in return.
Exactly. I'm doing this because I know he told me that, as long as I do that, I'll be fine.
Right, and this applies in all areas of life. It's not just when people go to church. I mean,
Well,
that's how we start off, is talking about the church.
Because
But-
it's a tithing idea, right?
Right. But it goes with anything in life.
So let's go beyond that, for example.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've seen with a lot of individuals is especially when they're going through what they consider a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
a challenge in their lives, that's when they turn to God. That's when they're like, well, God is going to help me with this. They start going to church. Like the one gentleman we gave a ride to, that 40-something minutes ride unexpectedly. And he was talking about all the things he did that he was really sorry for 40-something years.
Right.
And wondered if it was too late for him. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, I started going to church and he's doing this. And he said, but things still haven't improved.
Right. He
It's-
thinks it's too late for him.
But then he's doing everything he can. But why? He's trying to make up instead of doing it because he wants that relationship with God. And that's not why he's doing it. He's doing it because he's trying to save his soul, because that's what he's been told.
Right.
Well, that's not giving anymore. Am I making sense?
Yes, that's expecting to get something because you are putting time in now to do something.
It's bartering, I call it. Where, okay, I'll give you this and then you give me that. I want to get into heaven, so then you tell me what I should do to get there. And then I'll do that. But if I do that, you have to guarantee me that I'm going to get into heaven. It's the same thing with people. They don't feel well, or they're having a challenge with some kind. In this case, let's say it's health, right? Just to use an example. Because that's one of the most common ones.
Right.
They start to pray for perfect health, and then they go to their priest or pastor or whomever it is that's guiding them. And the pastor tells them, well, do this, say this prayer. And they go and they say that prayer, give more to the church, So they give more to the church, and they notice that their health hasn't improved. All of a sudden, they're all upset and say, well, you told me I should pray more. You told me I should give more to the church. And I'm being nice to my neighbor. And I'm forgiving all these people.
Why am I not getting better?
Exactly.
Well, it's the intent behind it. I think it goes for people who aren't even religious or don't even, choose to associate and figure out who God is. It's a lifestyle in a way. Do you give always expecting in return? Or do you give unconditionally, knowing that your life will always be taken care of and you'll always be fine, and you're just doing it because you want to do it? You feel a love toward doing such a thing.
It's the right thing to do.
Right.
As Jesus said, right? Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
And if you just live by that golden rule, it's called, then that's all you have to do. Just live by that golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Someone needs help, give them the help.
Right.
But you don't do it because how much karma did I just balance?
Right. Like some individuals who I've had conversations with, we've laughed about that. Oh, maybe I should go say some more of these decrees. That way I can balance more of this karma before I go to this event. Like, no, that's totally the wrong intention.
Right?
That's not going to
That's
help
not
you
giving.
much.
That's bartering.
God, I'm going to do this right now. Could you make sure to lower some of this?
It doesn't work that way. We know that by saying the decrees are doing good deeds, it's supposed to cancel out some of the negativity that we've put out there.
Right.
But that's not the reason why we should be doing it. We should be doing the things we do because it comes naturally. And if it doesn't come naturally, we're working on it to become natural.
Yes.
But we're doing it because we want to help another soul with their journey. No other reason. And if they never say thank you, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And if they never even give you recognition for what you've done,
Gratitude, nothing.
it's okay, because that's not why you did it.
Right.
You did it because you felt that you could help this soul on their journey, on their life path. That's it. That's giving. But the moment you start to think, well, let me do this and let me do that because I know that I'm going to get this in return, that's not giving anymore.
Now, what about the receiving end?
Well, receiving, that's a really good one, because that can also, oh, by the way, so if you're giving that way, you don't make much progress. Because again, keep in mind the law of karma
It's a
says
selfish giving.
what you put out is what you get. So guess what you get back?
The same kind of selfishness,
Right.
be stingy and
When people give you something, they don't really mean it. You know, they're doing it because they expect something from you in return.
right.
So always remember that. The way you do something, that's the way it's going to come back to you. So that's how it affects you in a negative way. That's why you're not making progress. Let's say, for example, in this case, your health. Because what they're giving you is not really positive. You know, because they want it back. Make sense? Yeah, what they call it, Indian giving,
Yes.
right? I'll give you
I'm
something.
going to give it to you, but I expect to get it back or something else of equal or greater value.
Right, so that doesn't work. So,
Right.
because when you give, the energy is supposed to transfer. You know? And so if the person expects something back, then it's a temporary transfer. And so it has to go back. So it can't get to work knowing that it has to return.
Right.
You know? So give wholeheartedly. You know, and everything you do, apply yourself wholeheartedly, knowing that that's what you're supposed to do. And whether or not your condition improves is not even important. What's important is that you keep doing what you know is the right thing to do. Knowing that by doing that, because Jesus said, treat somebody or treat people the way you want to be treated, you know that you'll be fine. It might not be today, it might not be next month, but you'll be fine. That's all. So,
Okay.
now receiving,
Yes.
how does it work? A lot of individuals have a hard time receiving. There's some people that love to give. Again, hopefully it's with the right intention, right?
Yes.
But they have a hard time receiving. Well, that's also a challenge, correct? Because why is someone giving you something? It could be either with a good intent, or it could be that they want something back
Correct.
as well. But that's not for you to worry about. You're supposed to receive God's blessings with no,
Strings attached.
well, in your mind,
Okay.
no preconceived notion. So it's more you,
Okay.
not the other person now, right? They could be giving it to you thinking, oh, I'm giving this to her because I feel that,
She can help me with this.
right. But you can't control how they
I'm
give
not
it to you.
receiving it saying, oh, why is she giving this to me? What does she want back?
Exactly.
I'm receiving saying, oh, thank you, God. Thank you for the blessing you're giving me.
Because God is the one that's giving it to you. If it were going to be bad for you, God wouldn't do that. He wouldn't let it happen. So the moment it comes to you, you accept it, as we say, with open arms, right? Now, if they sent it with the wrong intention, they have to deal with that, whomever sent it.
Right.
So I've seen people struggle with this idea where maybe they don't get along with somebody, or just a complete stranger comes and says, here, I'll help you with this, or I'll give this to you. And people have a hard time accepting that help, especially someone that they don't get along with. And why are you doing this? I don't trust you. You know,
Right.
you're up to something. Well, treat people the way you want to be treated. Is that the way you want to be treated? You want that if you offer help to somebody that they think about you that way?
Right.
Got it?
And there are some people you just offer help to them and they just refuse all the time.
So if they refuse, you leave them alone. You already offered the help.
Right.
And that's all you can do. You don't get frustrated because a person said no. The only thing you can do is offer the help. We go back to what? Free will.
Right.
You use your free will to offer the help. They can use their free will to either accept it or refuse it.
So what are you doing as a receiver? Are you accepting God's blessing? Or are you just
And
saying...
you're blocking it.
Yes, you're blocking it, saying, no, I don't want it.
And then you go around and you say, well, things are not working out for me. Why is my life so hard? When God is sending you all these blessings, but you don't want them, because as far as you're concerned, you don't like the people that are offering it to you.
It reminds me of the story of the preacher, and there is this warning put out that, you know, the area would flood. And so they, you know, the police came and said, oh, you should evacuate and go to higher ground. And he said, no, God will save me. And the water was maybe a foot high, and someone, you know, came along and said, oh, here, I'll help you and we can get you to higher ground. He said, no, God will save me. And then the water was almost to the roof of the house, and someone else came. And the
So
point of this
what
story
was
he kept on
roof?
going higher and
Oh, okay.
higher on the house.
Okay.
And finally, he drowned. And when he was, you know, over at the pearly gates, you know, waiting to be judged and stuff, he said, well, you know, God, why did you forsake me? Why did you not help me? And God said, I sent the policeman, I sent the firefighter, I sent this person, I sent this one, and you refused all of them. So I think that's kind of a lesson in receiving as well. If you keep getting the same kind of help coming to you,
Offers, you mean?
the offers of help, then you should graciously accept and thank God for it. Or if you don't believe in God or want to thank God, just say, thanks for the help.
Yeah, thank the universe
Yeah.
for it. You know, but don't spend time on. I've seen people. I've had this experience with individuals where they don't want to accept help from someone because they're afraid of what the person might think about them.
Right. Or what other people might think about them.
Exactly. And so then they refuse to help. You know? Next thing is about receiving. Make sure that you accept it the way it is.
Okay.
What does that mean? Let's say, for example, someone comes and someone gives you 10 gold coins. And you're like, oh, and you really need these coins, right?
Right.
No, forget about gold coins. Let's make it more practical. Let's say you're really hungry.
Okay.
Well, not even that. The
Just changing his example.
The car, right?
A car.
The car.
Okay.
Our car.
Our
right?
car.
You're driving, and all of a sudden it dies on the road.
Okay.
Now, we're not putting it out there, but just as an example.
Right.
And someone comes, and they're all raggedy looking. They smell terribly, and they come and they offer you help. And then you say, "Well, nah, it's okay," right? I already called for help. Now you haven't called for help, and let's say it's really cold outside, right? It's snow out there, and it's getting
bad
dark.
weather.
This person has a car, and the person said, "You know, let me drive you home." And you say, after a while, you say, "Well, no, but guess what? You could drive me to the gas station." Now the gas station is maybe halfway to your house, right?
Right.
So instead of accepting the help for the person to drive you home, you modify and have them drive you to the gas station. You haven't accepted the full offer. So God has given you a blessing to get you home, but because you're thinking this person could be kidnapping me,
Or hurting me in some way.
right? And we're not saying to just accept any offer from anybody, right?
Right. No.
But if you pray and ask for guidance,
You'll know.
You'll know, exactly. You'll know. And once that becomes clear, instead of modifying the help, then take the help. Let them take you home. You know what? Deal with the car the next day.
Right.
Or somebody might offer you. I seen. Like, you used to tell me, or you told me about how you used to go on dates. Whatever dates you had, there weren't many, but my wife hardly went on dates, folks.
Hardly.
So anyway, but you tell me how you go on dates, and then the guys would have you pay half the bill,
Oh, yes.
right?
They wouldn't tell me ahead of time. They just expect me to pay half the dinner.
So now, finally,
You invited me out.
you and I went out one day, and I think we were just friends at the time. If I remember, like, yes, I took an appointment, and then we went to eat somewhere,
Right.
and then I was paying. You're like, let me pay. No, I don't want you to pay. I said,
Right. Right.
no, I'm paying. So that's a good one. Like, 'cause I'm not used to someone. Why would I ask you to stop for us to get something to eat, and then I have you pay it? But because you were so used to that, you insisted on paying. I didn't let you, but that's another example of where you're refusing to help. Why did you refuse to help anyway?
Because we were just business partners at that time. So why would I let you buy me dinner? When I go out with these guys on first dates and then they expect me to pay half the meal.
So if I had said it's a date, you might have let me pay.
I don't know.
Like, okay, so
That didn't happen, so let's
I
move
know.
on.
Like, if I had known that, I'd be like, okay, consider a date. They'll
Then I'd
probably
definitely
say,
pay half.
I guess so, right?
Probably buy your meal for you. Oh, another one of these.
Yeah, but you get the point, right?
Yes.
So don't modify it. You know, whatever you're offered, take it willingly, accept it. Let the people balance their karma with you, because the reason why they're doing that is because they have karma to balance with you, and allow them to do it. You know, you've seen me drink coffee, which afterwards I felt really terrible because I don't drink coffee. But then the people were so happy offering the coffee,
Yes.
and that's all
Cuban
they
coffee,
had to,
really
right.
strong coffee.
And that's what they had to offer. They were so proud. Why am I telling them no?
Right.
When
Just
this
like
is-
the Indian tea, the sweet Indian tea
Exactly.
that's loaded with caffeine and stuff. And
And you would drink it.
I would. Well, what I'm supposed to tell them no?
No, but you got extra cups, so you would. It's not like
Oh, you want some more? Okay.
see, but that you accept it.
Right.
So that's how you do that. But it's more about the giving. When you give, make sure you give with the right intention. You don't expect anything back. And that's how
Same thing with receiving.
you get the blessings. And stop. You shouldn't be asking, why is this not improving? Because that has nothing to do with your giving. Your giving should be because you want to give. And give means praying, saying a decrease, whatever it is, not just giving something to people.
Right.
It's giving
Could
to
be
God
a
as well.
service of work of some
Exactly.
kind. Okay. I think that covers the whole topic. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.